choice, nowhere to go. Tune in for the infamous morning show, giving the news that you need to know. So don't you dare miss the wake-up call. Then in the evening, I got all for y'all. Get your dose of daily vitamins. You know the queen makes it make sense. So true.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr_A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. And as per usual, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Okay, hello, Miss Sheila. TC Dan Claudette is in the house. Luna is here. December. All right, Juju B, I see you. Nessie X, Danielle, Claudette. All right. So shout out to everyone in the chat and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators for putting in work. All right, so let's get into it. We the people. I see you. Sandra Cookie, Dragon Lily, Desmond is here. All right, so with that all been said, let's get this party started. Everybody, please feel free to hit that like button. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about Brendan Paul. Now, I told you guys months ago that Brendan Paul was going to be the first one to snitch and get a deal, okay? And that's exactly what it looks like he has done. So let's talk about it. Now, first, I'm going to go to the, hold on here. First, I'm going to go to the TikTok that I did months ago, like I said. All right? Because now they're saying that his charges are dropped. His charges are dropped, which leads me to think that he absolutely took a deal and started snitching. So let's get into it.
Ahmadiyyah Shakur. Now, we just got the first plea deal and the whole Diddy debacle, and that would go to none other than Brendan Paul, his alleged mule. So let's get into it. Now, of course, Brendan Paul was arrested on March the 25th, the same date that the raids were enacted on Diddy's residences in Los Angeles, Miami, and New York. This was approximately 4:15 p.m. at the Opa-locka Executive Airport. They caught him with Coca-Cola and also with some laced candies, okay? But they threw that one out. Now, here's the thing. In the state of Florida, they have very strict laws about illegal substances. I mean, even if you get caught with less than 28 grams, I mean, even if you have mere residue, okay, of Coca-Cola, you can get a felony. And that's what Mr. Brendan Paul got, was a felony. And so he's not going to get any jail time. He's not going to get any probation because they say that he's agreed to a plea deal where he's going to enter into a diversion program. And it's going to last 6 months. And if he successfully completes that program, then all of his charges will just disappear. Now, I find that all very interesting. And here's why. You see, because a representative for the Miami-Dade state attorney said that this is a standard offer for someone who's a nonviolent defendant with no priors, okay? And basically saying that he also had a lesser charge of possession rather than a more serious charge of trafficking. Please pay attention. So they said that's the norm, that's the standard. Well, in my calculations and in my understanding, it's usually the norm for a person who's a nonviolent defendant with no priors who's charged with a misdemeanor. to get a diversion program, okay, to be entered into a diversion program where the charges just go away after they complete everything and do what they're supposed to do without any violations, okay? But the key word here is misdemeanor, okay? Please pay attention. Now, Florida doesn't give you any slack when it comes to these illegal substances because, like I said, you can get a felony for just having mere residue. You can also get a trafficking case for having 28 grams, okay? 28 grams or more gets you an entire trafficking case. With that all being said, for having a third-degree felony, which is what you would be charged with likely if you had less than 28 grams, even with the residue, that would still equate to a third-degree felony in Florida, which could get you anywhere from 5 years in prison to probation. Mr. Brendan Paul didn't get either of those, so I absolutely think that he was giving up some receipts and talking on some things. And quite frankly, I hope he was, because after all, Diddy has had a myriad of nefarious allegations against him about different things ever since the past, 30 years, okay? And he's got no consequences. So quite frankly, I think that it's time for him to get what he deserves. So if Brendan snitched on him, well, good for him. And also, let's not forget that Diddy was a whole confidential informant himself at one point. I mean, this is all documented, by the way. Okay, if you didn't see my previous video showing the receipts on that, well, please go back and check it out.
All right, so now TMZ came out yesterday and reported this. Like up, everyone, please like and share. They say alleged Diddy mule charges dropped. The case is dropped completely. Diddy's alleged drug mule, Brendan Paul, is off the hook in his felony case in Florida because all the charges have been dropped. And TMZ confirmed this. They say state prosecutors officially dismissed the charges against Paul on Tuesday because he completed a pretrial diversion program, according to his attorney, Brian Bieber. Meanwhile, federal sources tell TMZ that that Paul did not strike a deal with federal prosecutors in the Diddy case. TMZ broke the story. They say Paul was hit with one felony count of drug possession following his March arrest at the Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport. Paul, who previously worked as Diddy's main assistant, was booked after authorities allegedly found Coca-Cola and Mary Jane candy in his possession. Okay? They say Paul's arrest notably occurred around the same time that the feds raided Diddy's home. Okay, so that all been said. They said he didn't take a deal with the feds. Well, I think that he did. Okay, I think that he absolutely did. Okay, I think that he absolutely did. She's so good on this channel. Thank you, Andrew. All right, I absolutely think that he took a deal. Now, would they tell us that he took one? Well, probably not. Okay, probably not. Because I'm sure that's his business, but I think that's absolutely what he did. And from that TikTok that I did months ago, like I said, very quickly, he was offered a diversion program. Okay? He was offered a diversion program. Now, let's not forget that not only did he have drugs on his person, but he was on an airplane. Okay? He was on an airplane about to leave with those drugs. Okay, and so with that all being said, now let's talk about the rest of this stuff because it's all getting real ugly real quick. It is all getting real ugly real quick. So first things first. Now they make a stark comparison between Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein. They say, and this is from the Daily Mail. I told you all this months ago that Diddy and Epstein had a whole lot of comparisons and similarities. Okay, the shocking similarities between Diddy and Epstein revealed in latest allegations. Friends and collaborators of Sean Diddy Combs continue to disassociate themselves from the bad boy mogul, just as others have done when billionaire Jeffrey Epstein faced similar criminal charges. Here's the thing. Like I told you guys on yesterday, the fact that Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Spiro, is acting like Jay-Z was never friends with Diddy when they've literally he's called him family, extended family, when we've seen them together throughout the decades. That just makes me feel like he's not credible, that you can't trust him. I mean, you can't trust any of these lawyers most of the time. Please pay attention. So with that all being said, we just have to realize that this stuff is going to have a whole lot of twists and turns. But anyway, let's talk about this. So they say On the latest episode of the DailyMail.com's podcast, The Trial of Diddy, attorney Lisa Bloom, who's representing former Danny Kane's singer Don Richard against the music producer, said there were plenty of complicit enablers around Combs. Now, it reminds me very much of Jeffrey Epstein, Bloom says, who represented 11 of the business mogul's accused victims, or the victims who accused him in a lawsuit. It says that Epstein had a whole operation with Ghislaine Maxwell and other people that worked as his recruiters. And similarly with Sean Combs, we think there's a lot of people and companies who were complicit and we named them. Well, of course, those people don't like being named. And there's a bunch of pictures they show in here with him and Jay-Z. Now, Bloom says Richard filed a lawsuit against Combs and his associates in September. Some have responded against the allegations and have tried to distance themselves from the bad boy rapper. Okay, Richard is suing for S assault, breach of contract, false imprisonment, forced labor, violation of S trafficking acts, and battery. Okay, Combs is locked up, and we already know where he is. Now, goes on to say that Epstein faced similar charges of S trafficking and conspiracy, but unlike Combs, Epstein was accused of trafficking and engaging in sex acts with dozens of minors, some as young as 14. Epstein never faced those charges in court and died by self-deletion August the 10th of 2019. Now, his longtime friend and madam, Maxwell, however, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for conspiring with Epstein to groom and sexually abuse minors. Combs has been hit with several civil lawsuits that allege that he assaulted minors, but no criminal charges involving the teens have been included in his criminal indictment. Well, that's likely going to come because, like I told you guys, and I continue to tell you, that in 2011, the feds were already investigating him for messing around with minors, and this was boys in that case, and they spoke to Jimmy Henchman to try to get him to roll on Diddy, but he refused. With that all being said, I told you first, you heard it here first, that there's going to be a superseding indictment, and they will likely include those things, those allegations in the superseding indictment. Now, the rapper and music producer has denied all allegations against him. His lawyers have also maintained his innocence as Combs faces more than 24 assault cases in New York and California. In the suit, Richard claimed that Combs had groped her while she was in her dressing room and was allegedly subjected to overt sexual advances. She claimed that she was in fear of her life several times during the time that she worked for Combs and was allegedly starved for hours and was not given breaks when she was working with the producer. Okay, this is all so nefarious. And you know, like I told you all before, everybody's not lying. Now, of course, I've also told you that some of these people absolutely are lying. They just want to get a bag, in my opinion. But most of these people, I absolutely believe everything that they're saying. So Bloom said that they may not have known. Some of these people that were dealing with Diddy said they may not have known, but if they did know and turned a blind eye to it and funded him, then they were complicit, and then we're not letting them out of the case. She also said that they will be back in front of a judge in January for Richard's case. Now, one megastar who is staying clear from Combs is his former collaborator, Jay-Z. The 55-year-old Empire State of Mind rapper, whose real name is Sean Carter, was named in a civil suit with Combs, accusing both men of raping a 13-year-old after the MTV Video Music Awards in 2020. Now, here's what's interesting, because this got me to thinking. Okay, and of course, Jay-Z's denied all those allegations. But here's the thing that got me to thinking. There was a case against Jay-Z and Beyonce, Epstein and Weinstein. A whole bunch of people were named, and this was in 2020. And I actually reported on this previously. Now, those allegations were dismissed by a judge who deemed it all as frivolous. And it may have been frivolous. But what I found interesting is that some of the allegations were similar to allegations that have now come out in the case of Diddy. So let's talk about it. Because first, I'm going to go to the case text. It says, background, plaintiff Charlene White Latham filed this complaint on her behalf on her own behalf. Okay, so that means she filed it pro se. She didn't have an attorney. Okay, she filed this on her own behalf and their children. Okay, on her own behalf and on behalf of her parents, David G. Latham and Tracy White Latham, okay, plaintiffs 2 and 3 respectively, and their other children and grandchildren, plaintiffs John Doe 1 through 10 and plaintiffs Jane Doe 1 through 5. Now, the 35 named defendants include the city of New York, individuals such as Harvey Weinstein, Sean Carter, Beyonce Knowles, Kanye West, Robert Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell, David Bowies, and entities such as Miramax, the Walt Disney Company, Def Jam Recordings, Universal Music Group, Sprint, Viacom, Sony, and the 1953 Trust, which is the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. Plaintiff alleges that Epstein initiated the events giving rise to this complaint. Said this was all initiated by Epstein. Please pay attention. Now, plaintiff accuses the named defendants and hundreds of unidentified defendants of establishing a lucrative but sociopathic criminal enterprise and engaging in decades of human trafficking, assaults, and various abuses, including financial and economic exploitation, drugging, and abduction, and taking plaintiffs number one, plaintiffs John and Jane Doe 1 through 10 hostage. She also alleges that the defendants engaged in harassment, extortion, physical torture, and revenge, targeting her mother for her refusal to sell her children to them. She further alleges that the defendants drugged the children for trafficking, hostage taking, and related abuse, but also began exploiting the plaintiffs for thefts of trade secrets, intellectual property, and torturous interference in the plaintiff's career and economic opportunities. Plaintiff 3, plaintiff's mother, agreed to an out-of-court multi-million-dollar monetary settlement in the late 1980s and early 1990s to avoid public criminal and civil prosecution for Epstein's sexual abuse of several of the plaintiffs' 2 and 3 children. Plaintiffs 2 and 3 share 6 children together, 3 sons, 3 daughters, and approximately 14 grandchildren. Now, this person is alleging that back in the 1980s and 90s even, Jeffrey Epstein was supposedly trafficking them. Again, I don't know if this is true or not, but let's continue. Now, after misappropriating Leslie Wexner's money to pay off the settlement, hold on, something just hit me, you guys. Something just hit me. After misappropriating Leslie Wexner's money to pay the settlement, Jeffrey Epstein devised a scheme of revenge and recovery of the money by targeting the plaintiffs by drugging and trafficking the children for continued abuse at his various orgies around the world, where he was paid large sums of money by elite attendees of the salacious events, and then used the money from abusing the plaintiffs to repay his debt to Wexner. Now, I want you all to pay attention to something. Do you all remember once in the chat, if you remember me telling you guys that Jeffrey Epstein and Les Wexner, okay, that's Leslie Wexner. Remember me telling you guys that he accused Jeffrey allegedly of taking like $40 million from him because Jeffrey Epstein was on his account? Do you all remember that? And I said for him to have Jeffrey on his account, him and Jeffrey seem to have had some sort of intimate relationship. And there were other things in the article, in the research that I found that led me to believe that they had something going on, like maybe they were bi. Do you all remember that? I see some of you putting ones in the chat. Because he accused Epstein, Leslie Wexner, okay, accused Epstein of taking his money. So now, that crazy bitch Eric said, that's a lot. I forgot you said that, Queen. Right. Tina Ross said, yes, it goes back years. I mean, honey, I forgot I said it. It literally just came to me. Okay. It literally just came to me. Let me have a word from my sponsor so I can see if I can find that receipt real quick.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, I found the receipt, you guys. I found that receipt. Okay, so listen, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. I found that receipt. What's in this lawsuit? This part right here. Victoria's Secret billionaire says Jeffrey Epstein stole $46 million of his money. Let's get into it. Leslie Wexner said he discovered the funds were missing after he decided to sever his ties with the accused child abuser in 2007. The billionaire behind the Victoria's Secret lingerie chain has said that financier and accused child abuser Epstein misappropriated more than $46 million of his personal fortune. That's exactly what it says in the lawsuit. That's exactly what it says in case text. Now, Leslie Wexner, the founder and chief executive of L Brands Inc., the parent company of Victoria's Secret, said money went missing a decade ago. Isn't that about the time the person said this would have happened? Now, says that this is according to a letter to the Wexner Foundation, seen by the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. It was reportedly discovered the funds were missing after he decided to sever ties with Epstein in 2007. Wexner, that means that it was in the 90s, you guys. I want you all to pay attention as I put two and two together. That means that the money came up missing, he said, a decade ago. This was in 2007. That would make it in the late 90s when this came up missing. And then the lawsuit say, the case text says that it was in the 80s or 90s, or that she was dealing with Epstein during the 80s and 90s, and that this money was taken. Okay, I want you all to pay attention, but let's continue. Now, it goes on to say, it was reportedly discovered the funds were missing after he decided to sever ties with Epstein in 2007. Wexner wrote that he began to cut ties with the financier after allegations against Epstein surfaced in 2006 involving sexual abuse of underage girls. Last month, Epstein pleaded not guilty in New York to new trafficking charges. He faces up to 45 years in prison if convicted and is currently in detention. Okay, that's all we need to know right there. That's all we need to know right there. There's the receipt. Okay, there's the receipt, which leads me to think that this case text information may be accurate. Okay, this is all nefarious, but let's continue. It says then he started drugging them and trafficking her children for continued abuse at his various orgies around the world, okay, where he was paid large sums of money, okay, by attendees for salacious events, and then used the money from abusing the plaintiffs to repay his debt to Wexner. Okay, the decades of abuse and assaults were equally to the benefit of entertainment and economic enrichment of corporations, as well as facilitated in whatever capacities by the corporations, their managers and personnel, as by any person named as a defendant. Okay, so anyway, as I told you guys, the judge deemed all of this as frivolous and threw it out. And that's likely because the woman filed it herself pro se and didn't have an attorney. Okay, she didn't have an attorney because I don't know why she didn't have one, but she just didn't. It says the court must dismiss an informer pauperous complaint or a portion thereof that is frivolous or malicious, fails to state a claim on which relief may be granted, or seeks monetary relief for the defendant or from the defendant who is immune from such relief. And then they go on to list the case, Livingston v. Adirondack Beverage Company. Okay, the court must also dismiss a complaint when the court lacks subject matter jurisdiction. While the law mandates dismissal on any of these grounds, the court is obliged to construe pro se pleadings liberally. And then they reference Harris v. Mills. and interpret them to raise the strongest claims that they suggest. Okay, a claim is frivolous. Listen to this. A claim is frivolous when it lacks an arguable basis either in law or in fact. So the judge said it was basically frivolous. Okay, so with that all being said, now I want you all to go back and let's revisit this. Let's revisit this. All Negroes officials said, who's buying all of these kids? We'll likely never know, beloved, because just like in the case of Jeffrey Epstein, when he was trafficking those people, who was purchasing them? Who was being involved in this? Who were the clients? We never found out. We never got the list of the clients, and none of them were ever charged. The only persons ever charged were Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And then Jeffrey turned up deceased. Now, let's go back to this video where I talked about this last year. Okay? I think it was last year. It was 5 months ago, actually. 5 months ago when I spoke about this.
Right. Okay. I'm glad you are. You have to read between the lines. Okay. Now, that crazy bitch Eric said, why aren't they countersuing? Well, probably because it's been deemed as frivolous, beloved. Probably because all of this stuff has been deemed as frivolous. Now, with that all being said, here's the thing. I want you to pay attention because several of these people, I wrote down some of the stuff because I said I was going to go through the whole documents. But this man, Mr. William Carroll, says that they had him under surveillance, just like the other people claim. And he says that they even put a camera in his head that can see through his eyes. Now, I know that sounds crazy. He also says that they attach some sort of surveillance thing to his pacemaker, and that when he does something that they don't like or whatever, I guess gets out of pocket or whatever, they can send shock waves to it, which make him become paralyzed. Okay, now mind you, his case was also deemed frivolous. Now, but here's the thing. He supposedly gave the instructions about this surveillance that's connected to his pacemaker. He gave information about that to the judge or whatever in court, and then, told him that it can be accessed by these people that are in this global group. It's what he calls it, a global group of global network of people. He says that they have access to it, and that basically it's been hacked. His pacemaker has been hacked, and that's how they send him these shockwaves and all of this stuff. And says that the Las Vegas Wynn Hotel lets rich people come there to gamble over people who have substance abuse issues. Okay, basically addicts. Saying these people are targeted, and that when someone tries to go against them or whatever, or files lawsuits against them, they cause these people great mental anguish. And also, he said that they encrypted the device that's connected to his pacemaker so that he couldn't, get access to it, but says that they have access to it. So with that all being said, I did some research because I'm like, okay, this all sounds crazy. I never heard of a camera being inside somebody's body where they can surveil you, where they can basically, see what's going on with you through your eyes and all this stuff. And he said the camera was in his head. I'm like, I never heard of any of this. So I'm like, let me just look this up and see if any of this is true. I never heard of pacemakers being hacked or any of this. But guess what? I found that these things can be done. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, hold on. Okay, these people are trying to get me to subscribe. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second to Google this again real quick because this article is trying to get me to subscribe.
Now, let me just tell you all this. At the end of the day, also, I'm going to go back to the video, but also let me tell you guys something. Do you remember that I showed you a video of Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein when they were sitting on stage together during an interview? And I told you that they had business dealings together. Jay-Z was close to Harvey Weinstein. Do you all remember that? Because I can pull up that video too. because you heard it here first. Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein were dealing with each other. They had a business relationship. I don't know if they were friends like him and Diddy, but they definitely were working together. How many of you remember me telling you all that? I still have the video once in the chat. How many of you remember me telling you that? Because I find it all interesting that Weinstein is listed in here as well. And let me just share my screen to show you all this as well before I go back to that. Look at this. You all see that? This is an article about it. Latham versus Epstein, Weinstein, and Jay-Z, allegations of trafficking, exploitation, and a cover-up spanning decades. Spanning decades, okay? Now, with that all being said, these are all allegations because the case was deemed as frivolous and dismissed. So this is allegations, okay? I'm not saying this is factual, but I just want you all to pay attention. Now let's go back to the video.
Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, here we go. So this is from, let me see, make sure this is a reputable site. This is from science.org. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. This is all nefarious. Mind you, this is all lies and BS. Again, none of this is true. Okay, it says in 2012, in a 2012 episode of TV series Homeland, Vice President William Walden is assassinated by a terrorist who hacks into his internet-enabled pacemaker and accelerates his heartbeat until he has a heart attack. A flight or fancy? Not everyone thinks so. Internet security experts have been warning for years that such devices are open to both data theft and remote control by a hacker. So it says that in 2007, Vice President Dick Cheney's cardiologist disabled the wireless functionality of his pacemaker because of that risk, saying that it seemed to me to be a bad idea for the vice president to have a device that maybe somebody on a rope line or in the next hotel room or downstairs might be able to get into, hack into it. Okay, so it does say that these things can be hacked, which I find all nefarious. Now let's see about this camera that he says was implanted in his head. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put this on the screen so y'all don't think I'm making this stuff up. And again, this is all frivolous. Okay, so this article says a man with a camera implanted in his head. This is from December of 2010. New York City professor Wafa Bilal had art on his mind when he had a camera mounted to the back of his head. But I'm claiming having electronic surgically attached to your body in the name of science. Okay, now he's moved from video games, game modes to photography. Instead of simply picking up a digital camera and going to town, Bilal has a titanium plate implanted in his head to act as a magnetic camera mount. A cable runs from the back of the camera to a specifically designed shoulder bag housing a laptop computer, which will process the pictures taken once every minute. This is all so darn crazy. First of all, why are they making this kind of stuff again? Why are they making this kind of stuff again? This all sounds sick. Okay? This all sounds sick. Reggie says, I remember when they started chipping dogs and cats. I knew they were further down. They were further than they let on. Okay? Yeah, this is all real crazy. So I just want you all to pay attention. So the long and short of it is, many people, William Carroll, okay, Kayeda Irving, and Camila and Danny Tolliver have all found numerous lawsuits on these people that have been deemed frivolous. just like the ones that I reported on days ago with Charlene Tatum. Wasn't that her name? Yeah, Charlene Latham, which was filed August the 21st of 2020. So Reggie said, sounds like first generation mind control. Okay, so I don't know, honey, this is all crazy. Why aren't these people, you know, that crazy bitch Air said, why aren't they countersuing? They don't really have to countersue when it's thrown out and deemed as fraudulent or frivolous. Okay, and here's the thing: when it's thrown out, you know, after the judge has given them a chance to get an attorney, because all of these were filed pro se, I do believe. They were filed pro se, which means they filed it themselves without aid of a counsel or attorney. So when these things are deemed frivolous, the judge will often, like I told you days ago with the case of Charlene Latham, the judge will give them, you know, the ability to get an attorney and then have it amended and then come back to court to see if it makes sense. But then now, after it's been, you know, after they come back numerous of times, now the judge is like, some of these can't be refiled. Some of these can't be refiled. Now, the woman Keita filed multiple lawsuits. Some of them have been dismissed and some of them have been not. I don't know if that's because they haven't gone before the court yet or whatever, but this is all real crazy. That's all I'm saying. This is all real crazy. It's a whole lot of people telling a whole lot of lies from the sound of it. And some of these allegations absolutely mirror, in my opinion, some of those allegations that Diddy was hit with. I mean, as far as the S harassment, the S assault, all of that stuff. And then even the lawsuit with Kanye West, talking about the S harassment, all that stuff. And another thing is Kanye was named in one of these as well. And then also Kanye was named in the one from Charlene Latham with Jay-Z and Beyonce. So I just want you all to pay attention to something. Remember how I told you guys months ago about a lot of these billionaires get accused of nefarious things? You all don't see a pattern. You all don't see a pattern. And then here's the thing. I forgot to tell you all this part. Pay attention. So in the case that was filed by Mr. Carroll, I believe it was, it listed Kanye West. This is just a few of the people because it was a long list. It listed Kanye West, Kendall and Kylie Jenner, Tom Cruise, Ashton Kutcher, J-Lo, Alicia Keys, Kelly Clarkson, Kelly Osbourne, Avril Lavigne, Cuba Gooding Jr. I'm sorry, what? It names a whole lot of people is all I'm saying. Okay, it names a whole lot of people. Okay, so what do y'all think about all of this? Why would people be doing this? For clout? For money? What are they up to? Okay, and they do ask for compensation in some of these filings as well, just so you know. And so I just find it all crazy at the end of the day.
Okay, so I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention because there was a lot of people that filed lawsuits, okay? And all of them, every last one got dismissed and deemed as frivolous, okay? Just like the one with this girl right now, it's going to be deemed as frivolous as far as I'm concerned, okay? So anyway, with that all being said, let's continue because I told you guys that Jay-Z had ties to Weinstein. Let me share this picture of them together. Y'all see that? Absolutely. What's down with Weinstein? Now I'm going to pull up that video momentarily. But before I do, let's talk about Busby because it has now come out, and thank you for sharing that in the chat, beloved. It has now come out that Busby is suing Jay-Z and Roc Nation. Okay, so let me just pull that up real quick. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. I told you all this is going to get real crazy. I told you guys this is going to get real crazy. And here we go right here. Jay-Z's Roc Nation hit with illegal solicitation lawsuit from Busby, from attorney Tony Buzbee. So Tony Busby accused Jay-Z's Roc Nation agents of trying to prevent his firm from pursuing cases relating to Sean Diddy Combs. Now, Jay-Z's Roc Nation is being sued by Texas attorney Tony Buzbee, the lawyer representing a woman accusing Hov and Diddy of assaulting her in 2000. So on Wednesday morning, December 17th, Busby issued a statement announcing the lawsuit, saying today the Busby law firm filed suit against Roc Nation and lawyers Marcy Croft and Quinn Emanuel for violation of various state laws, including barbatry and impersonation. Hold on, these pop-ups. I told you all he had something up his sleeve. Didn't I tell you guys? Please pay attention. Okay, an impersonation of a public official. Okay, so barbatry is the practice of illegally soliciting clients, commonly referred to as ambulance chasing, an allegation Jay-Z previously levied at Tony Buzbee. Busby continued saying the case was brought on behalf of a former client of the firm who was illegally solicited by agents working on behalf of the defendants. These agents pretended to work for the state of Texas and offered the former client money to sue the Busby law firm. Didn't I tell you guys he had something up his sleeve? Y'all better start listening to the queen. Now, the attorney claims this happened more than 24 times, resulting in 2 utterly frivolous cases against the Busby law firm. Busby claims the defendants are attempting to obstruct justice and prevent the firm from pursuing cases relating to Sean Diddy Combs in New York. Now, why would that be something that Jay-Z's interested in? Why would Jay-Z and his attorneys be interested in stopping Busby from pursuing cases as it pertains to Diddy? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because if Jay-Z was involved in any of these cases, that's why he'd want to stop him from pursuing cases against Diddy. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that Jay-Z is involved in any cases against Diddy, because this is all allegations and speculation. But I'm just telling you, that's the only reason I can think of why Jay-Z would be trying to stop him from pursuing cases against Diddy. Okay? I want you all to pay attention. Claudette said it backfired. This is all so interesting, but let's continue. Let's continue. So it goes on to say, Busby claims the defendants are attempting to obstruct justice. Okay, so now here is what Jay-Z's attorney posted. One of his attorneys posted this. Let me share my screen real quick. Amazing work. You all see this? Marcy Brian Croft says, amazing work. We are very proud to be a small part of this great team. Thank you, hashtag Roc Nation and hashtag Team Rock for all that you do. Well, you won't be doing much according to Tony Busby, but let's see where this all goes, because I find it all interesting. So anyway, goes on to say that the illegal conduct has happened more than 24 times to date and has resulted in 2 utterly frivolous cases against the firm. The lawsuit filed today alleges that the defendant's conspiracy is intended to obstruct justice and prevent the Busby law firm from pursuing cases against Diddy in New York. The conduct isn't just alleged. He said, this ain't alleged, honey. I got receipts. He said it was caught on tape. Didn't I tell you guys that Tony Busby's nothing to play with? I showed you all the video of how he gets down in court during cross-examination of a witness. Defendant Marcy Croft, who describes herself on social media as part of Team Rock, is orchestrating the conspiracy with assistance from defendant Quinn Emanuel. As you can see from the screenshot, Croft, Quinn Emanuel, and Roc Nation have a long working history. The suit alleges defendant Roc Nation is financing this illegal effort As set forth in the lawsuit earlier this week, agents acting on Croft's behalf again were caught on tape soliciting and offering money up to $10,000 to former clients of the Busby firm to convince them to file a frivolous case against the Busby law firm. These folks have now stooped to a new low to intimidate the lawyers of the Busby law firm from doing their important work. They're now contacting clients and former clients and actually offering them money to sue me. This conduct was specifically targeted at our firm, so we would not pursue cases related to the Diddy litigation. Let me be clear, he says. We will not be bullied or intimidated. The defendants this time overstepped. They got sloppy and stupidly got caught at their illegal scheme on tape. We have reported this conduct to the authorities and intend to cooperate with the authorities, honey. The police are involved, the feds, to ensure all involved are prosecuted to the fullest extent under Texas law. Oh, my Lord. What do you all have to say about all of this? Woo, this is crazy, honey, and I'm here for all of it. Claudette says going into 2025 with a bang. That's what I'm talking about. But didn't I tell you guys? DJ Big Six said charges, anyone? Didn't I tell you all? Didn't I say it? You heard it here first. Just remember that. Because you know the bigger content creators love to steal the queen's receipts and work and talking points. Eric says Jay-Z just screwed himself big time. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Okay, Hot Mess Equine says, I'm so thankful that Queen was live to catch it. Thank you, beloved. This is all so nefarious. Navy B said Jay-Z flew too close to the sun. Yes, he did. Woo, this is a hot mess. Pencilola said it's up and stuck. Keita B says you heard it here first. Okay. All hell no said you go to jail, and you go to jail expeditiously. This is all crazy. This is all crazy. Wow. RG Tight said, that's right, Queen. You called it. Okay, thank you. And I didn't even have to try to change the date of any incidents to prove it. Tisa Tales, sit down somewhere, talking about 2003. Okay, caught on tape, says Luna. Shannon said, Queen is right. This is all nefarious. I just want you all to pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's continue because I want you all to think about this. Now, this came out today. And even though, listen, I reported to you guys days ago that Tony Busby had tapes. I told you all that last week sometime that Tony Busby had them on record. And remember, I read you the transcript of one of those recordings. Okay? I read you the transcript. So remember, you heard it here first because I told you this all last week. Now, I also told you this last week. Let's get into it. Let's get into it because I told you all this too. Now they're talking about it in a whole separate article. Naughty's video vixen, it should be 90s, I think, claims that she was presented as a gift to Diddy and performed sex acts for Jay-Z to prove her worthiness, as she alleges how hip-hop stars pass women around the industry. Now, I want you all to pay attention, because didn't Jay-Z and his lawyer say that he don't know Diddy like that, that they're not friends, but yet Diddy gifted him a whole woman? Okay, allegedly. Mind you, this is all alleged. I want you all to pay attention. This is all so interesting. Let's get into it. Okay, so video vixen Karrine Steffans, aka Superhead, aka the succubus of hip hop, as I call her, okay, has claimed she was present or presented as a gift to Sean Diddy Combs as she reflected on her time working in music videos. The American author, who now goes by the name Elizabeth Overseen, published her first book, Confessions of a Video Vixen, back in 2005, as she opened up about being passed around by men in the music industry. The star, who is now a New York Times bestselling author, began her career as an actress and video vixen, appearing in more than 20 music videos in hip hop. Her first book in the series gives details of her extra relationships with rappers from Diddy to Usher and American basketball player Shaquille O'Neal, as well as Jay-Z and Diddy, who are under increased scrutiny due to recent allegations. Now, Diddy is currently behind bars in a Brooklyn detention center where he needs to stay. Okay, after being charged with racketeering, trafficking, fraud and coercion, or fraud and coercion, and trying to engage in prostitution. Meanwhile, earlier this month, Jay-Z was hit with a civil lawsuit that claims he assaulted a 13-year-old girl on September the 7th of 2000 after the MTV Video Music Awards. Speaking to the Daily Beast, she likened what's happening to the Me Too movement that began in 2017. But says it's taken a while for people to catch up and realize the world of hip hop is just as murky as Hollywood. They all know the same people with few degrees of separation between them. They have the same handlers, go to the same parties, share the same jets, yachts, and islands, and they abide by the same lawless code. Recalling her encounter with Diddy, Karrine explained she was engaged in an extra relationship with the American rapper and music executive, and also with music executive Irv Gotti at the time, and would often send her to people that he wanted to impress. So basically said Irv Gotti allegedly sent her to Diddy. She wrote in her book, whenever there was someone who Gotti wanted to impress, he would send me to them and I would take care of them. One of those people was Sean Diddy Combs. Karrine then claimed Gotti arranged for her to go over to Diddy's house one evening where she alleges they engaged in sexual intercourse. So Diddy and I spent the next 15 minutes or so engaging in the usual. After the experience, he said, "You're one of the best." I said the same to him when in actuality, he was average. Okay, so Karrine also recalled her sexual encounter with Jay-Z as she alleged how she proved her worthiness after she appeared in his Hey Poppy music video back in 2000, around the same time he met Beyonce. This is oh so nefarious. After filming the video, the rapper invited Karrine for a drive in his car, and she accepted, explaining she felt comfortable in his company. The pair chatted for a while, and then the star's driver pulled over and exited the vehicle, leaving Jay-Z and Karrine together for her to perform an act. She claims in the book that after a few moments of silence, Jay pulled out his cucumber, covered it with with plastic, and y'all know what I'm talking about, and placed his hand on the back of her head. I was being a good girl, thanking him and proving my worthiness of the kindness he had shown. I was doing what I had been taught. We carried on in the car for a while and headed back to the set as if nothing happened. And every once in a while, we shared a glance and a half of a smile. Karrine went on to explain that the pair were never intimate again, as she added, unlike some of the others, there were no games, no long phone conversations, and no dates. Jay made no professions of love for me, nor did he make any promises. It was all very straightforward. It was what it was, nothing more. Since that day in the car, he remained a gentleman, and it seemed as if nothing had ever happened between us, and in a way, nothing had. Mail Online have contacted Jay-Z and Gotti's representatives for comment. Speaking in an interview with Vlad back in 2015, she insinuated that the pair realized they didn't connect actually after the incident in the car, and admitted they were no longer in contact. She explained that Jay looked out for me on the first shoot. He always made sure I got the positioning I needed to get noticed, made sure I got the pay I needed, whatever I needed. We only had one encounter that was beyond a friendship. The thing is, you are around someone so much, there is this tension, and there is this thing like you want to, and you try it, and you then think, okay, let's just be cool. That doesn't work. So that's how that ended, and I don't think I've seen him. I don't think I've seen him I don't think I've seen him, and I don't know how many years. Okay, she hasn't seen him, and she doesn't know how many years. Now, Karrine also co-starred alongside Vin Diesel in the action movie A Man Apart, confessing the two also had an intimate relationship. Knowing everyone in the industry, Karrine also has claimed she embarked on a 6-month relationship with Whitney Houston's husband, Bobby Brown, during a period a period when he was separated from the singer. Speaking with Max Paul, she candidly admitted, "I always say this, I was the best lover. I was the one that made them good." The star also had a long-running relationship with rapper Lil Wayne, with her admitting she would never stop seeing Lil Wayne for anyone. And even when she was with her husband, she would leave him to meet Wayne in the early morning hours. Jay-Z's murky past relationships have been thrust back into the spotlight after the news that the rapper had been accused of raping a 13-year-old. Weeks after the alleged incident, he went public and with Beyonce, and then 19 at an Armani exhibition. But a photo has revealed they actually first met in late 1997 when the Destiny's Child star was 16 and he was 28. Although there's no suggestion anything improper occurred. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there because I already told you all this all last week. I already told you guys this all last week. I don't know why it's coming out again today. So this is all real crazy. All these ninjas have ruined themselves since Miss Sheila. At the end of the day, I find it all interesting. And then 50 Cent came out the other day and said during an interview that Jay-Z and Beyonce had a marriage contract. That's what he said. He said they had a marriage contract. And then he doubled down on it. So let's talk about that. Is Jay-Z's marriage contract with Beyonce the secret behind his success? 50 Cent seems to think so. So in a recent appearance on the Flagrant podcast, rapper 50 Cent sparked controversy with bold comments about Jay-Z's success, suggesting that much of it can be attributed to his marriage to Beyonce. The G-Unit mogul, known for his provocative remarks, called their union the marriage contract, implying that Jay-Z's rise to fame and career accolades came primarily after marrying the global superstar. When Jay signed the contract, now this is what 50 says. When Jay signed his contract, the big one with Beyonce, when he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those trophies came rolling in, buddy. Okay, he further added that Jay-Z had only one Grammy before his marriage to Beyonce, but now boasts over 20. This playful yet pointed comment was met with laughter from the podcast panel, but it also sparked a wave of reactions online. 50 Cent's comments highlighted his belief that Jay-Z's success has been significantly influenced by his relationship with Beyonce. He emphasized that the rapper's transformation into a prominent business and family figure was directly related to Beyonce's position in the entertainment world. He's been treated differently because of the position that Beyonce's in. That's what 50 Cent says. The rapper's perspective has been a topic of debate, with some fans dismissing his remarks as lighthearted banter, while others see them as part of a larger narrative of competition and rivalry between the two. Between 50 and Dame, I don't know who talks about Jay-Z more. That's what someone said online. Now, while some viewers found 50's comments amusing, others expressed frustration with his continued focus on Jay-Z, especially in light of the ongoing legal challenges surrounding the Roc Nation founder. Recently, Jay-Z has been embroiled in a high-profile lawsuit alleging serious accusations. And despite this, 50 Cent has maintained his stance on often taking jabs at the rapper during public appearances. In addition to his comments on Jay-Z, 50 Cent also touched upon other topics during the Flagrant podcast interview, including a brief discussion about Kendrick Lamar. However, it was his remarks about Jay-Z that garnered the most attention, with fans on social media voicing their frustration. One user expressed saying, "I wish 50 would make some good music again instead of gossiping all the time." And so, despite the mounting attention about 50 Cent's comments, Jay-Z has not responded publicly. His silence in the face of ongoing criticism is consistent with his usual approach to handling controversy. Instead, the rapper has focused on his family, maintaining a dignified stance despite the legal battles he faces. This is all real crazy as far as I'm concerned, but what do you all think? What do you all think? Hold on, let me get rid of some of this stuff. And now also, here's another thing though. Now this came out on yesterday. They bring this back up about Houston attorney Tony Busby sued in federal court for alleged client abuse. Okay, this is what he was talking about right here. This is one of the cases that he was talking about. Houston attorney Tony Busby is the target of 2 lawsuits filed in Louisiana federal court, accusing the lawyer and his firm of pocketing settlement money through unethical accounting practices. Busby has dismissed the claims as patently frivolous, arguing they were designed to harm his reputation and undermine his firm's role in representing alleged sexual assault victims in the ongoing civil litigation case against Sean Diddy Combs. According to Busby, the former clients were financially incentivized to file lawsuits against him, adding that one former client was offered $10,000. $10,000. And he says this was all funded by Roc Nation and Jay-Z. We have reported the conduct to the authorities. In one case, a former ship captain named Adam Goudry alleges that Busby took advantage of him by not explaining the associated expenses in his case. Goudry retained the Busby law firm in 2020 after he was injured on a dredging ship owned by Callan Marine. The case was ultimately settled, but according to the lawsuit, Busby's firm retained most of the $350,000 settlement. In the end, Goudry's attorneys claimed that he received $5,125. That sounds crazy. How are you going to get a settlement for $350,000, but you only get $5,000? Now, in the other lawsuit, a ship deckhand named Matthew Thompson claims Busby didn't give him the money he was entitled to through the Jones Act, which provides a remedy to seamen injured in the course of their employment aboard a vessel due to the negligence of the employer. And that's according to the U.S. Department of Labor's website. Now, Busby's law firm represented Thompson in a 2023 lawsuit against Strategic Towing Services after he was injured in a barge collision in the Houston Ship Channel. According to Thompson's lawsuit against Busby, the law firm allegedly deposited his checks into the firm's operating account and issued funds to Thompson and his wife through Venmo and high interest loans. Both cases claim the law firm had unethical accounting practices, but according to Busby, he has affidavits from both clients agreeing and approving the accounting in their cases. He says, and I now have affidavits and regarding demonstrating that these clients were paid money to file these frivolous lawsuits. So he said that not only does he have affidavits proving that the clients agreed to whatever he gave them for the settlement, he said he now has affidavits and a recording demonstrating the clients were paid money to file these frivolous lawsuits. Busby didn't share the reference affidavits or recordings, but told Houston Public Media that he shared the information with law enforcement and plans to file a lawsuit in response to the allegations this week, which he already has. This comes months after Busby announced that he would represent hundreds of alleged sexual assault victims in legal efforts against rapper Sean Diddy Combs, who's been federally indicted for alleged sex trafficking. Also named in the case is high-profile rapper and businessman Jay-Z for an occurrence in 2000. Okay, so listen, I'm about to be out of here. I just want you all to pay attention that Busby has now sued Jay-Z and Roc Nation, alleging that they offered his clients money to basically file these frivolous lawsuits against him, and even in one case offered $10,000. Okay, this is all very interesting. All very interesting. So I guess we'll see how this all turns out. Now, as it pertains to the young lady who says that she was assaulted in 2000 after the VMAs at an after party, I don't know if she's telling the truth or not. I don't know if she's telling the truth or not. I cannot say, like I told you guys days before, that's for the courts to decide. But what I do know is in those cases that I reported to you all 5 months ago, okay, that have now been resurfaced, those cases, there was multiple people accusing Jay-Z, Beyonce, Epstein, Weinstein, and others of trafficking, drugging children, all sorts of things, trying to buy their children, and all of these things. And also, even though it sounded crazy, because remember, sometimes truth's stranger than fiction, and I'm not saying it's true, but even the man who said that they put something in his head, like a camera to spy on him or whatever, when I looked it up, they have that sort of technology. I showed you the receipts. So y'all would think I'm making this up. This is all so crazy at the end of the day. Oh, so crazy. Rashid says, yes, Queen, all part of the satanic network. I absolutely believe so. I absolutely believe it is all a part of the satanic network. Remember, today is the day that Busby is supposed to show us those tapes. Says the grift dies hard here. Well, I will be waiting. I will be waiting. And let me just tell you all this before I go. I had a dream, and I forgot to tell you all this yesterday. I had a dream that Diddy was in the dream. Diddy was sitting in like the cafeteria of the jail where he is, and he was eating a sandwich. And no, it wasn't a peanut butter and jelly, but he was eating a sandwich. And as he's sitting there chewing, there's like 3 guys sitting at the table with him. And he told them, he said, yeah, he said, you know, that's cool and all. He said, but motherfuckers not gonna keep acting like they cool with me and then playing in my face. Now, I don't know what he meant by that statement, because it was a dream, but it was a lucid dream. It's like I was there watching him. Okay, it's like I was there watching him, which, you know, I was probably remote viewing, because you all know I do that sometimes. And I've told you guys that when I have these instances where I'm remote viewing something, it's like a dream, but in the dream, I don't see myself. It's like I'm standing against a wall watching what's going on. And I saw Diddy. It's almost like a movie playing out, and I'm just watching the movie. Okay, for those of you that follow the spiritual channel, you know I've told you about this several times. But I see Diddy sitting there, and there's 3 guys. Diddy's eating a sandwich, and he's sitting there chewing, and he's saying, these motherfuckers, it's cool and all, but motherfuckers not going to keep acting like they're cool and smiling and playing in my face. Okay? So that's what you ought to pay attention. This is all nefarious. So I think that he's likely talking about Jay-Z by the fact that Jay-Z's now saying they were never friends. That his lawyer said they were never friends. They were just professional business associates. Okay? So that's what you ought to pay attention. I just want you all to pay attention. So with that all being said, likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Like and share. Okay, and so I'll be back later on this evening, you guys. But until then, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now.
That's
See
right.
a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy.
Real slick.
I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and and I got